I'm coming for all of you. Right now, there's a 15-year-old sophomore in high school who has no idea they're studying nursing just so they can wipe my ass in 17 years. I'm 50 and single. That's a fantastic combination. I'm going to spend my golden years dating a handful of spit and a jug of Astroglide.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. I've had an interesting week. I don't know about interesting. I've had a highs and lows week. I've had an ups and downs week. And this is my 16th attempt at doing this show. And yes, I have been keeping track with little fucking slash marks on the pad of paper here. And I keep stopping and I keep starting. Once I got 12 minutes into the show and I actually stopped it. Once I get 16 minutes into the show and I actually stopped it and erased it because it didn't feel natural. It didn't feel right. It felt like a lot of talking in circles and talking downhill to avoid talking about real things. Do you want to hear about real things? You probably don't. And I feel like I have to do it this week. I have to. I want this to be my job. I want this to be my job. I want to talk for a living. I want to be me. I want to come see you. I want to do shows. I want to do all this. And look, those are the words of a child. I want. Well, what are you going to fucking do to make it happen? What are you going to do to step out and make your life the life you want it to be? And I don't fucking know. I don't know. I think I know in the moment. I think I know in fleeting passing seconds, and I'm like, all right, well that's gonna work. And then I wind up doing the same fucking thing I always do, where I kneecap myself, and I don't know why. And I don't know if this is a good idea to do in a show. I don't know if it's a good idea to talk to you guys about this, but I've sat here now for fucking 3 days, trying, sitting, stopping, starting, moving locations in my house. Started at the desk, and then I actually recorded in one chair, recording in a different chair. I actually tried to record in the bedroom at one point, thinking that I would shake it up. I should have gone outside, probably could have gotten in the car. Maybe I should have just driven around the fucking neighborhood and talked that way. But instead, I wound up just sitting and staring and looking at the ceiling and looking at the wall. And it's that weird thing where you're like, I want this. There's this attainable thing that I know is out there that I can have, and I have it. I already have it. I'm halfway there, if not 3/4 of the way there. This week started brilliantly. I needed to get YouTube subscribers. My YouTube channel is up and running, as you guys already know. If you haven't subscribed, you can go ahead and do that now. Look at me working into a plug as I tell you how fucking terrible I am. So over the weekend, YouTube said they were going to demonetize the channel by the end of February if we didn't get a certain amount of subscribers and a certain amount of hours listened to. And I told Gio when he first told me, because again, my default is, well, that's never going to happen. I mean, it's I don't know why I consistently doubt your support, why I don't think that you will step up and rally for me. You always have. I don't know why. It's you know why? 'Cause, fuck it. It's easier. It's easier to do that because then if it doesn't happen, I can think in my head, well, I kind of knew that wouldn't happen. And instead of going, well, let's work to make this what we want it to be, I can go, well, that's probably never going to happen, but we'll go ahead and make an effort. And it allows me to put it off, and it allows me to put it off. And it's something I've done my entire life, and it's something I'm trying to stop doing. And I'm successful now a lot more than I have been in the past, but it still shows up. And it showed up this month with the YouTube thing because, like I said, I got an email from them. They're like, hey, if you don't have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours listened to by the end of February, we're going to cut off your monetization. Now, do I make a ton of money from the YouTube channel? I do not yet. But again, whose fault is that? Am I not promoting it? I'm promoted like once every 3 weeks on Facebook. Why? Because I don't like promoting myself. And again, I'm warning you now. This show's a slog. If you want to fucking bail, I totally get it. We'll call this episode Reset. If you want to come back for an official episode, if you want to hear more cool stuff about Japan, next week's probably going to be the week for that. Or maybe even later this week. Who the fuck knows what I will do? But I do know that I'm going to soldier through and make this the final attempt at this week's fucking show, because it is 4:45 in the fucking morning on Thursday. Or Wednesday night, whatever you prefer. I prefer to think of it as Wednesday night since I haven't been to sleep. But it's 4:45 Thursday morning, 7:45 on the East Coast if you're up and about. And you're thinking to yourself, hey, where's Mike for my morning commute? Well, he's sitting in his fucking apartment staring, wondering why anybody would care about anything he has to say. And it's the fucking stupidest thing in the world. I get that. I know it. And yet, it lurks. It lurks. It arrives, it shows up, and it weighs on my chest like a fucking anvil. And I don't know why. And I don't know if it's a combination of laziness combined with self-loathing or what the fuck it is. I don't know what it is about me that tells me that I'm not good, or that you won't like it, or it's not good enough. I don't understand it. I want to. I've done episodes on this before, and I've talked about taking medicine. I've talked about these. I've broached it with Shannon. I'm like, well, I could probably take medicine, and then I just kind of shine it. Why? Because things are going okay. And I'm like, well, I don't need to do it. I don't need to look into it. And I don't want to know what medicine would do to me. I knew people who took that kind of stuff, and I thought it changed them, quite frankly. Comedians that I knew and stuff like that. And maybe they're a lot happier, and maybe and look, their success didn't taper off. I mean, again, whatever, fuck, I'm not going to out people who don't want to be talked about anyway. I don't know. So the YouTube channel, I threw out a rallying cry to everybody, and I would mention it here on the show, but I didn't promote it on Twitter, and I didn't promote it on Facebook because, in my mind, I don't want to self-promote. It's just, that's a weird thing to self-promote. It's a weird thing to go ahead and ask people to support me. And why? I don't know why. That's my job. This is my job, talking, self-promoting. All of those things are the job part of this, and they should be approached as such, instead of me just going, well, whatever, I'll look at that later, I'll put it off. And I know where this comes from, and I've explored it with you guys before, and I've talked about it many times. When I was a kid, I have no work ethic. I have no work ethic and no discipline. None. I have none. And that comes from whatever happened to me in my childhood, where nothing was instilled in me. Because, like I've said before, I love my mom, but she was just trying to keep us alive. She was just trying to keep us all in the same apartment. She was just trying to make sure that the five of us were kept under her roof, and she could take care of us, and we weren't sent to fucking, because they tried. They absolutely fucking tried to come and take us. They tried to fucking send us to foster homes and to orphanages and shit like that, because it was my mom trying to raise 5 boys on her own. And if it wasn't for my aunt and my uncle and other things like that, we probably would have been taken away from my mom. You know what I mean? So this isn't flowing as smoothly as it should, I know, and it's not a normal show, and this is normally a comedy show. And you would think, ostensibly, at least I like to think it's a comedy show a lot of the times. But when I was a kid, my mom was more concerned with keeping food on the table and keeping us breathing. She didn't have a lot of time to check my homework, or take me out for Little League, or nurture me in any real parental way. Other than, I knew that she would always defend me if I needed her to. But it's a strange thing when you talk about it and you parse it. And as I've said before, everybody lives the life they've lived. Everybody's had the childhood that they had. It's funny, I was talking to Shannon this week, and I told her, I was telling her that same thing about how, my mom was trying to keep us alive. And I said we actually had a plan for when social services would come to the house. And this is the truth, because it would be the 5 boys home. We'd be home by ourselves. My mom would be working. Well, the thing is, she was on government, and a lot of this was spurred because, and I try not to go off on a tangent here. I just, like a week ago, the government decided that they weren't going to give poor people as much EBT anymore. They're going to send them boxes of food, which I'm assuming is cans of pumpkin pie mix and horrible government cheese and powdered milk. And that's just such a fuck you to people. I mean, it's just such a fuck you to the working poor to say to them, hey, we care so little about you. We're going to legislate exactly what you can fucking eat. Like, it's bad enough. Look, you think yes, you hear all these stories about welfare cheats and people out there that are stealing money, and we've all seen the video of ODB and whatever the fuck. But believe me, there are a ton more people who need that assistance to stay alive and keep their families together and to not go to bed hungry than there are people out there cheating the fucking system. And if there are people cheating the system, then work on finding the people that are cheating the system. Don't punish everybody who's in the fucking system. So for you to say that you're going to send out boxes of food, I mean, let me ask you this. Do you know, like, when your tax refund check is coming, do you trust the government to do anything? And I hate to be this guy, but do you trust them to do anything for you at this point? I don't. And to think that they're going to tell poor people, well, we're going to go ahead and regulate exactly what you can eat now. It's so frustrating to see it happen. And this triggered a lot of memories for me. I will tell you this. I was in the grocery store for Christmas. And there was a woman, and I came up, and I was behind her in line. I was the 10 items or less. And she had a basket that was kind of full, but she was sorting it out and putting it on the conveyor belt and putting those little dividers there. And she said to me, would you like to go ahead of me? And I said, oh my God, that's really nice of you. Thank you. So I had 4 things. So I saw her arranging everything, and I went ahead, and the cashier was checking me out. And look, I don't tell you this story for any fucking fancy reason. I just tell you because it happened. But as I saw her sorting everything, I saw her pull out her Wix and her EBT stuff. Now, WIC is another program where basically they pay for your milk and like your cheese. You know what I mean? Like, the government has certain kinds of support where you can use a WIC for this, you can use EBT for that. You can't pay for liquor, you can't pay for cake with those things. And so if you're going to get those things, you have to divide them up. I know this because when I was a kid, we had food stamps. And when we had food stamps, you couldn't use them for certain items. You had to, and so if we were going to get soda, my mom would have to pay cash for it, whereas we'd use the food stamps for other things. It was just, it's a ridiculous way of punishing the poor and trying to pretend like you care about them when you really do not. And yes, I know some people are going to say, well, we pay our taxes, and why should we pay for these people's dinners? Just because you're a good person, how about that? How about you pay for your family's dinner? And if you got to pay for somebody else's dinner once in a fucking while because you're doing better than they are, I don't see the harm in that. But again, who the fuck am I? I'm a 50-year-old single guy with no kids. So there's no reason for me to fucking, I don't want to tell you how to live your life. If that upsets you or offends you in some way, that's you. And that's fine. But I'm telling you, as somebody who grew up on government assistance, I was not flaunting it. I was embarrassed by it. I was embarrassed by it every time my mom had to pull out those multicolored fucking slips of paper and trade them instead of trading in actual fucking cash. So I got to the conveyor belt, and like I said, this woman let me go ahead of her. She's dividing everything. I started pulling out Wix and EBT and separating stuff. And the woman rang up my stuff, and I paid for it. And I said, and I looked at the woman behind me, and I said, I go, this is Wix and this is EBT, and then what's the other stuff? And she goes, well, that's not covered. I go, I know, I was a kid, and I was on this. I go, I'll tell you what, I'll pay for that. She said, what? I said, yeah, no, it's let me take care of it. And I looked at the cashier. I go, just ring that up with my stuff too. And this woman was just, she was flabbergasted. She looked at me, like Jesus had come to Ralph's. You know what I mean? And she just went, oh my God. And she touched my arm and she said, thank you. And I said, no, Merry Christmas. I go, when I was a kid, we did the same thing. So I know exactly what you're doing. Let me take care of it. And I didn't do it because I'm a fucking genius. I didn't do it because I'm the best. I didn't do it. I did it because she did a nice thing for me by letting me cut in line, and turning around and seeing her sorting all those groceries made me 11 years old again. It was 1978. I was at Jewel, and my mom was trying to figure out what she could and couldn't get to feed her 5 kids according to food stamps and how much cash she had on hand. And I didn't want that woman to wonder if I could take her burden away for fucking 1 minute, for 90 seconds, if I could have her where she didn't have to do the math in her head to figure out how to get these Pop-Tarts and these bananas and this, that would be fine with me. Because again, it's not like she bought fucking Cuervo. It's not like she had a bunch of fucking tequila and bullshit like that. She was buying things that would be, in my opinion, would be considered staples. Like I said, she had fruit, she had vegetables, she had Pop-Tarts, and everything was kind of divided up. And I just wanted, I wanted to take care of her. I just wanted to help her. And this is, this gets to what I'm saying about being a kid. Like I said, it triggered these feelings in me where I remembered the plan we had. My mom, she would work 45, 50 hours a week, sometimes 60 hours a week, and she wasn't supposed to because she was getting food stamps. So that's the crime of it. When they try to give you government assistance, they also tell you can't work. But then the stigma is that people who are on government assistance don't work. Well, you can't work if you're getting government assistance. It's a fucking hamster wheel, and you can't get out of it. It's a hamster wheel, and you know what? Instead of the cage being lined with wood shavings, it's lined with shame. It's a hamster wheel in a cage lined with shame, and they control you that way. And when I saw them saying last week that they were going to start changing it and not giving people even the food stamps or the cash and starting to decide exactly what food they should get. I mean, look, like I said, we got powdered milk. I mean, I had the church come and bring me food when we were kids. I remember I talked before about how the church brought us a gigantic bag of peanuts. Now, did we smash them all in the sayonara to the peanut god poker game? Certainly we did. Probably not the best use of the church's largesse or their generosity. But that's what we did because we were kids and we were dumb. But they brought us powdered milk. They brought us noodles. They brought us things that and my mom stretched it. We made it fucking work. We made it work. But that was what my mom was concerned with. She was concerned with keeping us alive. She wasn't so concerned with making me a man or making me a good person or teaching me life lessons. As I've said many times before, my mom's entire sex talk with me was don't knock anybody up. A lot of the stuff I learned through just growing up and observing and finding out. I mean, I told you I didn't learn to shave until I was 21. Like really, I mean, I knew how to shave, you know what I mean? But I didn't learn that you should shave with warm water. I didn't learn, I would shave with cold water and sometimes with soap. And I talked to Ransom and he was like, look, soap's a last resort, whatever. My friend, he taught me how to shave when I was 21. I'm behind the curve, but I never had the chance. Fuck that. I had the chance. And you know what? You control yourself when you get older. You can control who you are and what you do. And I'm trying to. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to fix my life in a way where I'm an actual functioning human being and someone who gets things done and works properly. And this year, 2018, I wanted to have a schedule where I'm off Monday, Tuesday, and that's comedy work. And then Wednesday, Thursday is also comedy work, but also some driving mixed in. And then Friday, Saturday are hardcore driving. And if I still have to drive on Sunday, I will. Doing that and then actually going out and working some shows into that. And I have a plan. I have a schedule. I have the thing I want to do. And YouTube was one of those things that was kind of important. I needed to get YouTube up and running so I didn't have to worry about it. Once they sent this email, because look, I didn't worry about it, but I also never really was like, well, I've got to go ahead and put a bunch of stuff on YouTube. I want to, but it's these, and again, it's no discipline and no work ethic. I tell myself, hey, you got to do this, and then I don't. And then I'm like, hey, you should do that, and then I don't. Patreon is a very good example of that. I have, a certain number of you who support me on Patreon, and thank you. It's amazing to me. Am I giving you what you deserve? Probably not. I mean, I do this show every week. But also, there were other things that I said would exist. And they're not there yet. They're just not there. And it's my own fault. And I would not blame you if you bailed on me. I don't want you to, but if you did, I would understand it. But I'm telling you that but this is another thing I've done my whole life. I've said, hey man, I know what's going on. I know what I got to do. I just got to do it. That's a phrase I've said probably 1 million times in my life. I know what I've got to do. I just got to do it. I talked to Shannon about how self-aware I am, and she's she's constantly remarking on the fact that I am so self-aware, and yet I fall into the same traps, and she wants to know why. That's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to solve the Rubik's Cube that is my fucking brain and figure out exactly why I keep doing the same thing. Why I'm still in the hamster wheel. and I've never really escaped it. And I mean, I have to a certain extent. I've done amazing things. You know, I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, I'm a failure. I've done these terrible things, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just saying I could be a lot better. And I know you know it, and I know it, and we all know it. And I don't know if this show helps. I don't know if me, tearing off scabs for you guys is good radio or broadcasting or podcasting or whatever the fuck. You're my friends. I anticipate some of you won't enjoy this. And I get that because believe me, when I was going through shit over the past few years, I would talk to people and I'd burn them the fuck out with my problems. I'd be like, well, this is happening. And people would have a solution for me and I wouldn't take the solution. And then they would just get frustrated and be like, I don't understand why you're not doing this. And I understand that. I'm as frustrated with myself as you are with me. I'm frustrated today. Because again, this week, the YouTube thing was a big deal. So, like I told you, I knew it was till the end of the month, so I put it off. I didn't have to worry about it until the end of the month. In my head, I'm like, well, I don't have to worry about this till the end of the month. That'll be fine. I'll worry about it at the end of the month. That'll be, It wasn't until a listener, Andrew Bennett, who's a good friend and a listener, who's been around since the beginning. And when I went to Boston, he actually won the Kickstarter. He had dinner with me, and he became the butt of jokes because he ate all of the avocado off of this salad, and I was fucking furious. I couldn't understand it. Let's put it this way: it was funny, but at the same time, I was like, "Really, dude? You eat all the fucking avocado?" Which was weird. But luckily, he knows who I am, so to him, it's a badge of honor that he ate the avocado, and I made fun of him for it for the last 8 years. He's thrilled with that, or 6 years, whatever the fuck. But Drew, he tweeted on Saturday. He said, "Hey, my good friend Mike at the 40-year-old boy needs to get, I think it was 300 subscribers or 200 subscribers in the next." He said he needs 200 subscribers in the next 2 days, or else YouTube will demonetize him. And I thought it was great that Drew stepped up and did that, but at the same time, I read it and I was like, in 2 days? Nah, dude, I got to the end of February. It's fucking the 28th. It's only the 18th now. I got 10 days. And then in my head, I went, well, wait a minute. Drew is like fucking Captain YouTube. That guy, he's a social media guy. He does a ton of Instagram. When I talked about being in Japan and how exhausting it was to be a social media person, Drew wrote me just laughing. He's like, yeah, no fucking kidding. Because he gets sponsored to go on trips and go on junkets and things like that. And he has to constantly catalog everything that he does. Right now, he's in fucking Disney World. And I don't know if that was a fucking comp, but he's reviewing everything along the way as he goes with his kids and his family. And he puts up, if you follow him, I think he's Ben Spark at Twitter and Ben Spark on Instagram. Find him because he's just putting up tons of fucking photos from Disney World. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know. It shames me to see the amount of work and stuff that he puts into it. But that's what you're supposed to do. That's how you make a brand. That's how you make things work. That's how you make this your job instead of just a hobby. Because you know what? Podcasting's a fucking hobby. Let's be honest. For a lot of people out there, I get frustrated because I'll be on fucking Twitter and I'll see people go, "Hey man, tune into my podcast. It's here. It's on SoundCloud. It's on these different things." And I like to put in an effort to this. We have professional music. Mex does amazing artwork, and I care about the fucking show. The fact that this show's coming out late is not an indication of the fact that I don't care. The fact that today's show is late is an indication of the fact that I care too fucking much. Way too much. And when I say that, what I mean is I care so much that I tell myself it's not good. And I'm not looking for you guys to go, "Oh, Mike, that's awesome," or "Oh, Mike, attaboy," or "Hey, your show's great. We love your show." I know you do. I know you do. You're out there and you're listening and you contact me and you interact on the Jokers page and you support via Patreon and you support other ways too. And you supported this week, and I'll get to that in a second. But I still find myself questioning myself. I still, and you know what? Being alone is a part of it. because there's no immediate feedback of laughter. Like I would leave Lily's house going, yeah, you know what? I made her laugh the whole fucking time and this was a great show. Or I made her cry, or I affected her. That story was effective. That worked. Everything worked because there was an immediate sounding board and immediate feedback. And that's how I like to work. Like when I did the show with Lou, or I'm sorry, not Lou, I did the show with Justin, and I did the show with Maki. I enjoyed those shows because there's somebody in the room. When I did the shows last year in Canada with Ken and John in the room, that's a big deal to me. It's coming from years of stand-up. It's coming from years of getting immediate gratification, and doing the show by myself. I can do it. I mean, I've proven that, and it's just a different animal. And the way my head works is it leads me to think it's not good enough because it's not the same. It's not good enough because I'm not hearing from anybody. It's not good enough because maybe the listener numbers went down. I don't know. I find every reason to worry. When I say I want this to be my job, I mean it. But unfortunately, right now, my job is worrying about it. That's not the way to be. My job is worrying if it's good enough. And that's not the fucking way it should be. I've been doing this for 10 years, 11 years. You count Never Not Funny, and I know I'm good at this. I've accumulated a fucking fan base. I've got people who are rabid and will if I ask them to do something, they'll do it. I've got people who will come and see me live. I know these things. I know the privileges I have. It's just there's a fucking ghost in my head who tells me, yeah, no, doesn't work. No, it's not. It's not the same. Yeah, you're burnt out. Yeah, you're not as funny as you were. Yeah, you're not as good as you were. And so then in my head, I think, well, fuck, I've got this 10-year catalog of stuff. I need to do something with it. And we've talked about this before, where you finish a show and then it's over with, and then you go, oh man, I got to do another show next week. And that's just such a weird way to put pressure on yourself. What you should be doing is just fucking doing the show. And look, man, hey, again, if you want to bail because this has got a lot of me talking in fucking circles, I totally get it. I get it. I tried 15 other times to do this show in the old way, in the other fashion, and talk about where I was sitting and talk about the laptop and I just went, man, this is not real. This isn't real right now. You're talking in circles to avoid talking about how you're really feeling, and that's I didn't want to do it this week. I've done it other weeks. Certainly, I've hidden a lot of this, but this week I want to bleed. I just want to bleed. So, this week was started out by Drew, and he said in 2 days. So then I went and I checked the email, and sure enough, I had till February 20th to get 1,000 listeners. Now, I should tell you, when I got that email the first time, like I said, I wrote Gio immediately. I go, well, we're never going to get this. He goes, Mike, you've already got the listeners. You've already got the hours of listening. I go, no, you got to have 4,000. It says. He goes, you got over 50,000 hours of people who of listening. And I'm like, oh, fuck, really? And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, it also says 4,000 in the past year. He goes, you're already over that. He goes, don't sweat that. He goes, but we got to get to the 1,000, and that's something we can do easily, and you just got to promote. And then I proceeded to not promote, thinking I had until the end of the month, thinking once I got close to the end of the month, then I could mention it a few times and get people on board and get the number up, because I just, again, and this is the strangest thing. I want this to be my job, but then part of me becomes ashamed that this is my job. Does that make sense? Because I don't know what it means to be an adult or a man. I don't know what it means to take care of a family. So to me, talking for a living or trying to get you to there's been some discussion about me getting a Twitch channel and doing things like that. I really think I'd be good at it. But at the same time, it seems like such a fucking weird, phony way to make a living, and that's the dumbest thing ever. The thing that pulls me out of this morass a lot of the times is when I think about people like Jackie Cation and people who are brilliant, people who tour, and Jackie she'll take photos in a fucking hotel and then she'll be on a helicopter somewhere. She's a pro's fucking pro. And she just does the work. That's what you do, is you put your fucking head down and you do the work. She's been doing Dork Force just as long as I've been doing this. I think she's got to be, and just cheerful and funny and smart and friendly and brilliant, and just the writing solid and always working and always improving her craft. And it shames me. As much as I take inspiration from her, I'm shamed by her, because I'm like, well, that's what it's like when you make an effort. Then you get your name on the door at Conan. You don't sit up till fucking 7 a.m. questioning whether or not you're fucking funny, which is a non-fucking starter, because you've got to be completely all in on yourself in this business. You have to realize that you have value and what you're doing is good. And as you all know, I can go from thinking I'm not funny and I've never been funny and I don't know why anybody listens to me, to thinking that I'm the funniest motherfucker in the world. In the fucking world. And I'm not wrong on either case. Bullshit, I'm wrong about that first one. I'm wrong. Of course I'm funny. And I'm really fucking funny. And I know this. I know it. But then that ghost comes out. And he's just like, hey, yeah, no, this isn't working. This isn't how a man earns a living. This isn't how, and you're not good enough anyway. Even, you got to be really special to make this work. And, isn't it easier for you to just go be a security guard somewhere where nobody bothers you? You just spend 8 hours in a fucking room by yourself and you get a paycheck. Isn't it easier for drive strangers around? Because then nobody questions you. You just go ahead and fucking drive them. And those are easy things to do, because those are chimp jobs. Those are serial killer jobs. Those are the jobs you get when you want to hide from society. Those are the jobs you get when you don't have the training, you don't have the drive, and you don't have the work ethic to do the things you're supposed to do. And I'd like to think that I'm more than those gigs, and I've thought that all along. And it's, like I said, it shames me that when you watch the One Man, there's on the Patreon page, I put up one of the performances of the One Man. At the end of the One Man, you hear, I do a bit, not a bit, I do it like an epilogue, and I say, I use Life Wasted by Pearl Jam, and I say, I've tasted a life wasted. I'm never going back again. I've faced a life wasted. I've escaped a life wasted. This is the words of the song, and I say, no, I've tasted a life wasted and I've faced a life wasted, but can I escape a life wasted? And I always say, I don't know. And then I go, well, but I choose to believe I'm this. How I choose to feel is how I am. And I really meant it. I meant it when I wrote it. It wasn't just a showpiece. It wasn't just a means to an end or a wrap up of a show. It truly was an epiphany that I had back then, that I did not want to have a life wasted. I wanted to have hope, and I wanted to hopefully be, and I even said on stage, I'm supposed to be more. I'm supposed to be more than what I am now. And you cut to 6 years later, 5-6 years later, and I think internally I'm more, but I'm not professionally. Hey, look, I've kept this show going, and I think it is just as good as it always was. In my fleeting moments, I think that it's different, but I tell myself I'm still good. I'm still relevant. I'm still really funny. But then I also tell myself, well, you've been doing it 10 years. Well, maybe you burnt out. Maybe people don't want to listen to you anymore, and maybe people are over you. And, there's all these new comics, and there's new people and new podcasts, and, you don't chart anymore, and all these that. And I spend a lot of time telling myself why this isn't good. And then in the same breath, I'll go, well, fuck that though. People are listening, people love you, and they contact you all the time. And I recognize that this is probably not the best show to recapture comedy and tell you guys, hey man, this is a comedy show and I'm back on top. And I don't feel back on top. I did earlier in the week. Because again, when Drew said 2 days, I went, holy fuck. And I contacted Gio and I was like, man, this is not good. Now we've got 2 days to get like 300 people. He's like, well, he goes, you just tweet it out. He goes, you could do that and you're standing on your head. And I go, yeah, I probably can't. I go, because it's been up for over a year now and it's only at 800. And he goes, dude, that's just laziness. That's just people. You gotta, unfortunately, you gotta herd people toward the page and get them to click subscribe. That's just the way it is. And because again, I told them I've been doing it on Facebook and I do it here on the show, but I mean, I don't do it on Facebook every week because I don't want to bother you people with it. In my mind, it's just an echo chamber. I'm telling people on the Joker's page, I'm telling people on my page, and then eventually, this is so stupid, but if I put up a thing about the YouTube page, it only gets like 2 likes in my head. I go, well, see, there you go. There's the fucking masses have spoken. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody wants to fucking subscribe. If they did, they would. And Gio's just like, well, that's why you got to keep telling them. That's why you got to have value added. You got to tell them that this is a thing, and and I'm like, yeah, but that's fucking terrible. I've got to constantly. I do a show once a week that I want them to enjoy, but that they need me in their fucking ears 6 times a week, going, hey man, you got to do this. Hey, you got to subscribe to this. Hey, do this, and hey, I'm on Patreon, and hey, find me here, and hey, I'm on Twitter, and he's like, yes, that's exactly what you have to do. If you really want this to be your job, I mean, he doesn't say it in those kind of words and he doesn't scold me, but I say it to myself. If you really want this to be your job, yes, that's what you do. You interact, you engage. It's been a running joke that I don't answer emails. I'm trying my best to answer every email I get now. Like even on Facebook Messenger, I'll sit down and I'll answer like 15 people. And whether it's 1 or 2 lines, because again, I used to put pressure on myself where I had to write a whole fucking page. And now because I want to interact. I want to let you know how important you are to me. And whether you write me some silly note about, meeting you for lunch in Florida at some point, like our friend Patrick just did, or if you're Lou and you ask me if I'm coming back to Oregon. I mean, if you're those people, or if you're Seth and Tracy telling me how much you loved me talking about you last week on the show, I'm trying to engage you and answer you right away, because in my head I'm like, there's no point in I'm not better than you guys. I'm not I always joke I'm the talent. Yeah, I am. I am the fucking talent. But I wouldn't be the talent if there wasn't you guys out there helping me and listening to me and encouraging me to be the talent and encouraging me to come to town and encouraging me to be funny. And it's a symbiotic relationship. But that's the thing, is then I tell myself, well, you guys are burnt and you guys don't want to hear it. And well, I didn't get any likes on that and people didn't like this. And it's just this weird, foolish way to be where I talk myself out of being the thing I want to be more than anything in my entire life. I'm trying to fix it. I really am. I am. And I'm so much better. This is another thing too, is there are people who've been listening for a real long time and they'll contact me and they'll say stuff like, oh man, I'm just like you, man. I fuck up and I can't keep a job or I do these things. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I hope that's not the niche I've carved out for myself in everybody's brain. I mean, I think, certainly I've had, I was telling stories from the past, but I mean, now, let's put it this way. If I beat up a fucking car now, throw me in fucking jail. Seriously, because I did it before, and it was interesting and funny, certainly at the time that it happened. And I've gotten out and I've confronted people. I've almost fought an old man at Trader Joe's. I got in a parking garage and yelled at a guy, and I almost fought a woman at a post office. I mean, by all the past years, and you'll hear me what a psychopath I was. And now I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be a psychopath. You know what I want to do? Because also then part of me is like, well, is the show interesting then if I'm not doing those things? And we've talked about this a million fucking times. Hold on, I need water. We've talked about this a million times. And by we, I mean me. I've talked to you, at you, about it a million times. And man, I just, I know this isn't glib. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be talking and without fail and just kind of rampaging and letting it all hang out there. And I'm trying to let it all hang out there. But I'm also trying to be as measured as possible and trying to be normal here. And maybe you don't want normal me. Maybe that's a problem here. Maybe I fucked this up from the jump and I'm going to put this out and then everybody's going to be like, ah, fuck, dude. God damn it. He went ahead and went normal on us. Nobody wants him to be normal. Talk in circles and don't breathe. That's what we fucking want. And I wouldn't blame you. Fuck, that's a comedy show. That's what it is. It's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be me having fun and us talking and having a great time and me telling you stories. And I will again next week or maybe later this week, probably next week though. But I mean, this week I couldn't. I really couldn't. I sat down to pull the trigger on it, and I really tried on Tuesday. I did it a few times, probably 6, and then today I did it 10 more times or 9 more times. And then finally, I think this is 16. Let me think. Yeah, I got the slashes here. This is 16, I believe. And I just, I just didn't have it. I didn't have it. I kept trying to do a normal show. And in my head, I just went, oh man, you don't have it. Why? I don't know why. Because again, I had the weeks of getting back to YouTube. I then went out on Monday, and I had one day. You know, I when I found that out on Sunday, I was like, oh fuck, I got one day. Because this is another thing: is Drew put that out. I think it was Sunday morning. And I had until Tuesday morning to get it done. And this is totally true. Even though I saw Drew's thing on Sunday, I did not tweet immediately. I didn't put out a thing where I was like, oh my God, I got to rally people. What I did was I went on Facebook and I did a live thing. And I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and plug that real quick. If you guys want an actual show, like a show with me talking fast in the moment, stuff like that, go check out the YouTube video of the Facebook stream from Sunday. Because when I sat down basically to tell people, I was going to do like a fucking 5-minute promo and go, hey guys, you should subscribe to the YouTube channel because I've got 2 days to get 1,000 fucking subscribers. Well, I wound up talking for like an hour and 20 minutes because people were nice and they were engaging me and they were writing and trying to talk to me. And, sorry, yawning. I fucking loved it. I loved it. I loved you know what? Again, I love the immediacy of it. I love working to people. I love talking to people. And I loved talking to you guys because you were engaged and you had things to say. And that made me happy. And it was the best. It was the best. So that's why I kept talking. I was just having fun and having a good time. And every listener was jumping in. Our friend Hugh in England, all sorts of people at all different time zones. And when I finished that thing, I fucking finally finished and put the phone down. I could have fucking flown to every one of you and shaken your hand or given you a hug because it made me so goddamn happy because people were engaged. It showed me that people cared. It showed me that people wanted it. And also, I felt pretty goddamn good about me because I talked extemporaneously for an hour and 20 minutes into a telephone to people and they fucking dug it. They were on board. And it made me go, you know what? It also emboldened me to do the Twitch thing. I'm like, fuck, I can do this. I can stream. I can talk to people while I'm streaming and be funny and everything will be great. And it made me feel powerful. It made me feel funny. It made me feel strong. It made me feel like a comedian. It made me feel like an entertainer. It made me feel the way I think I want to feel not even I think, the way I know I want to feel every goddamn day. What I was going to say is the way I think I should every goddamn day, but fuck that. The way I know I want to feel every goddamn day. I want to be a performer. I want to be a comedian. I want to be a podcaster. I want to be a writer. I want to be an actor. I want to be a voiceover guy. I don't want to be a driver. I don't want to be a security guard. I don't want to be a bouncer. There's nothing wrong with those things, but I've done them. And I can't climb out of the hole just yet. I'm going to be driving for a while. But I also have irons in the fire to try to come out and see you guys this summer. And I'm not crying poor here. You know, I'm my head's above water for right now. I'm not putting the touch on you guys for anything. You know, it's cool that you support me on Patreon, and if you want to support more, that's great. It's cool that you're supporting on YouTube. If you want to watch more, it means more for me. I mean, but I don't even know. Like I said, I might make 2 cents a day, something like that. I don't even know. I don't know what the fucking rules are for monetization. But the important thing was this week trying to get over 1,000 subscribers because Gio already told me, he goes, look, you've got the hours to listen to. Let's get the subscribers. So when I did that thing on Facebook on Sunday, I felt so great about it. I felt energized. I felt excited. And a bunch of people went and signed up, which made me happy. And then Monday, I reached out and I talked to Jimmy and Matt from Never Not Funny, and I was like, "Hey guys, can you do me a favor? Like, I'm trying to get a YouTube thing hooked up, and I'm going to tweet, and if you guys could at least retweet me, that'd be great. But if you wanted to tweet about it as well, that would be fantastic." And I mean, fucking Jimmy did it in 5 minutes, and then Matt, he's like, "Hey man, I didn't have my phone on. What's the deal here?" And Jimmy tweeted his roast, and then Matt tweeted episode 36 fin because it had the Jimmy cameo in it. It had all tied in with Never Not Funny. But the point is, the second I tweeted and they tweeted and between Facebook, like I said, I didn't think I would get. I thought I had till the end of the month. I'm like, well, I still didn't think I would ever get it. Well, in 2 days, man, we went up at like 1,330 people. I mean, I added over 500 people in a day and a half. And again, I'll be truthful. I did not want to bring Jimmy and Matt into it because I felt like, well, you know what, that's a big ask, and I don't want to be that guy because they've moved on. Their show's successful without me, and I don't want to be someone who continuously associates myself with them in that way if they're not interested in having me do so. But then when I reached out to them, they were just like, fuck yeah, let's do this immediately. And it, again, made me happy. It made me feel the way I know I want to feel all the time. And it made me realize that there is a legacy there. Whether it ended weird and it's been 10 years or whatever, and whether or not their new listeners even know who I am. Although a lot of them came on board last year because they released the fucking year one through Howl. And then people were like, who the fuck is this guy? I mean, I actually heard from people who were like, whoa, dude, where have you been? What have you been doing? And so that was another thing, too, when they tweeted out, it made me laugh because there were some people who were like, hey, man, it's the least I can do for the former third baseman. And then there were people like, yeah, but I didn't know Mike had a show, which is brutal. Because, I mean, fuck, I've done their show and we've plugged it how many fucking times. But it didn't matter. Everybody went in and they signed up. Now, I should tell you this. I mentioned that there was like 1,330 or 1,350 people. Well, I did not ask for this, but at some point, I don't know how, I came up on the radar of the Russians. And I don't know why, but apparently the word went out among the Russian bots because Monday morning, I wound up getting like 25 Russians who signed up at 9:51 a.m. And then I got another 30 Russians who signed up at fucking 10:41 a.m. And when I say Russians, I mean like they're, the names were like the fucking periodic table, like that crazy weird chemical name, like all those weird fucking sideways letters and shit like that. And I was like, what the fuck? It looks like somebody fucking shot a fucking shotgun at an eye chart. That's how fucked up these letters were. And I was like, all right, well, I guess the Russians love me. That's fine with me. But I will tell you this. I was already over the number already when the Russians showed up. But that just cemented it. Because that was another thing is Gio kept going, all right, man, you're clinched it. And I'm like, dude, I haven't clinched anything. And he's like, no, man, you totally clinched it. And I'm like, fuck, dude, no. I go, it's the internet. People can join up and then they'll fucking bail at 11:59 as a joke to show me that they, it's like, it's trolls. It's people. And he's just like, what is wrong with you? And I go, that's what the internet is. It's people for a joke. They sign up to give you hope and then they fucking bail on you. Twitter, it happens with Twitter users all the time. There are people who'll be like, you know what? I'm only 800 away from 15,000. Let's make it happen. And then they'll lose like 1,000 followers because everybody's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? It's just, we just want to make it hard because it's the internet and we're trolls and we're fucking jagoffs. And so I was in, I don't want to say fear, but I kept, because again, in my head, I kept going, well, this isn't going to happen. It's not going to be a thing. And then when it looked like it was going to happen, when we finally got over the number, I kept going, well, let's wait until midnight. And then when it got to be midnight in New York, I went, let's wait until midnight in LA. And he's just like, man, you're crazy. You got the number. You don't need to fucking worry about it. And it was fucking amazing. It was amazing. Now, I'll tell you this, YouTube went in and they fucking kicked all the Russians out, as far as I know, because my number went down by like 50. But I don't fucking care. I mean, I asked you guys for help. I asked you guys to step up, and we asked people from Never Not, and everybody did. Everybody did. And it showed me again that there's hope for this to be my job. This I want to make this my job. Now, a good way to make it your job would be to do it. A good way to make it your job would be to go ahead and advance your your schedule in a way where you can actually do this for work. And so I have to defeat some personal demons in order to do that. And you know, I don't know if I'm a dry drunk. I don't know what the fuck. Believe me, I've been reading. I've had people tell me that, and I've read it, and I can see the symptoms. You know, I'm all fucking codependent. I got all sorts of bullshit going on, and I'm trying to fix it. I'm reading books. Shannon's helping. Do you know that I've been seeing Shannon for 4 years? I think that's even a lie. I've been seeing Shannon for 5 years. 5 years? No, 4 years. 4 years. I walked into her office in 2014. It'll be 4 years in a couple of weeks. It was in March because I know exactly when it was. It was in March of 2014 I walked into her office. And she's been invaluable to me. I honestly wish I could talk to her more. I wish I could talk to her for 2 hours a session or 2 sessions a week. But monetarily, that doesn't make sense. And also, as much stuff as I'm unlocking, it doesn't make sense to go in there and try to and really, what's that going to do? I'm going to step it up. You know what? Hey, man, let's fix me. Let's do it. We're in the home stretch here. Nah, I got a feeling it's going to take a while. But also being self-aware and seeing the things that need to be fixed, I just need to learn how to take the steps to fix them. And look, I throw this to you guys. If you've listened this far, thank you. I would completely understand if you didn't, because this was yet another fucking week of self-reflection and worry. And again, like I said, the week started out promising. It was fucking killer because of that YouTube thing. And I needed it too, because you know, I went into Sunday thinking that I needed to stop driving and I needed to change things, and I'll tell you why. You know, I've tried to stick to the schedule of Ubering. Like I said, I take Monday, Tuesday off, and then I drive a little Wednesday, a little on Thursday to chase whatever bonus they have early in the week. And then in winter, the bonuses are fucking really weak. They don't, you know, literally this is the bonus this week. Between Monday through Thursday, if you make 15 rides, you get a $15 bonus. I mean, that doesn't even pay for fucking half the gas. Because gas went up here in LA. It's fucking $3.29 a gallon now, which is fucking brutal. When I went to Japan, it was $2.93. So I came home and it's gone up like 36 cents a fucking gallon. You sneaky fucking Arabs coming in here and raising the prices while I was out of town. They were pissed. They were mad I didn't go to Kuwait. Because they love me when I over there. The Saudi Arabians and stuff like that. They're like, ho ho, Schmitty's coming. And when they heard I was going to Japan this year, they're like, what the fuck? All right, we'll show him. And they're mad. They're like, he drives a Camry. He's in league with the Japanese. He's going over there. He's driving their car. Let's fuck him up by raising the gas prices. And they did it, and it worked. So last week, I went out to drive on Friday. And now look, I was supposed to go out. So again, like I said, the schedule, I'll drive a little bit Monday through Thursday to try to catch that bonus, but then the weekend bonus is usually bigger. It's usually like drive 40 rides and make $80, or drive 60 rides and make $110. So, and I know if you're probably going, well, doesn't that not pay for your gas? Shut up. I don't want to hear you and your math bullshit. I've convinced myself that the bigger bonus is worth chasing. So Friday, Saturday is when I drive really hardcore, hopefully to get the bonus by then. And I probably have to fill in with a few rides on Sunday. So Friday, I had to go out and drive, and look, I as I've said before, I'm a great boss. I'm just a terrible employee, because I will give myself all the fucking weeks off. Hey man, you should take 2 weeks off. That's totally fun. Hey, did you know you have to drive 16 hours a day the next couple days in order to try to make some cash? God damn it. Why did I fucking listen to you? Well, because I'm the boss. Yeah, but you're a bad boss. No, I'm a great boss. You're just a fucking terrible employee. You take advantage of the bullshit. So Friday, I needed to get out the door, and I got showered. I needed to get out the door, and after I'd been to the gym, I knew I needed to get out to drive. I'm like, all right, I'll drive hardcore. But the problem is when I keep that Sunday cushion for myself, because this is who I am as a guy, just like putting off YouTube to the end of February, I go, well, you know, if I don't go out on Friday, I can go out and drive hardcore on Sunday. And that's just fucked. You've heard the phrase robbing Peter to pay Paul. I just continue to rob Peter. I rob Peter all fucking day long. And Paul comes around and I'm like, hey buddy, I gotta go find Peter. I kick the can down the road. All of those cliches you could possibly think of. I figure I will deal with it later. Oh no, man, if I don't work Friday, I can work Sunday. That's fine. I'll chase that bonus on Sunday. And then I wind up in the car sometimes till 3 a.m. on Sunday, even though there's nobody out. But I'm driving around a ghost town hoping to get like 2 rides. I've had that happen. It's been 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 3 a.m. on a Sunday night, which is fucking death, because 4 a.m. is when the bonus ends. And I'm like, oh, I just got to get one more person. Please let one person be stranded. Let something happen. Which is why in 2018 I wanted to have a better schedule and make it work. And it's February. It's still a work in progress. And by that I mean I haven't done it yet. So Friday I was supposed to go out to drive, and I finally got out the door at about 11:30 at night. And I was like, well, here's the thing. I'll drive bar time and I'll make as much money as I can tonight if I can hit 10 of these, because the bonus last week was only 30 rides. So I'm like, well, I can hit 10 of these tonight. I can kill it tomorrow and make that. And then, I don't have to drive Sunday. And all this bullshit. Carry the 2. Figure out the math. How many rides? Fuck. But the point is, don't do that shit. I want this to be my job. I don't want that to be my goddamn job. Again, telling yourself, well, I got to do 20 rides tomorrow. That's just saying, you're basically saying, I've got to be in the car for 10 hours. I've got to spend this money on gas. I've got to do this. I've got to give up time that could be spent posting stuff on Patreon or YouTube or doing a show or fucking anything, going out and doing comedy. Fuck. But there are bills to be paid. And I want to have it made in the shade. And all I really need is the woman. Understand? So I went out Friday and I was on my way to Hollywood, and I got pinged for Universal Studios. So I pulled up. And Universal's, there's like 4 different pickup spots, but I went to the one where it pinged me, and thankfully they were there. So I pull up, and it's a woman. I don't want to say her name, but she looked friendly enough, and she had glasses and like kind of longish hair, and she walks up to the car, and I roll the window down, and she goes, "Are you here for me?" And I read her name, and she said, "Yeah, that's me." And I said, "Okay, well, let's go." And she went to get in the front. She goes, "Come on." And when she said, "Come on," her friends emerged from the bushes. There were 3 people. I don't know why they hid in the bushes. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I can take 4 people. That's fine. I don't know if it was an ambush, but they decided a true ambush. It was a true ambushes. I don't know if that was what they decided would be a good plan. But she was kind of like, turn around, was like, and they come walking out of the bushes. I'm like, all right, whatever the fuck. So she gets in the front seat, and they get in the back. Now, I should tell you that it was, when people get picked up at the amusement park, they're logy, they're sleepy, they just want to nod off. So they get in the car, and I punch the route, and I said, okay, so you guys are only going about a mile up the street. She goes, pardon me? And I said, it says here you're going just right up here to near Cahuenga. And she goes, oh, no, we're going to Sun Valley. I said, oh, well, you're probably going to have to put in that address. She goes, I did. And at that point is when I realized that she may be a skosh impaired. And I don't mean just tired from walking around at the goddamn amusement park. I think maybe she had tapped herself into some libations there at the park. So I said, no, you haven't put the address in. You got to go ahead and put it in because this address. And she's like, oh, okay. And she takes the phone. And again, she seems fine. Her friends are already fucking out like a light in the back seat. Every one of them is just fucking eyes closed, snoring like the Three Stooges. Me. Like they're out. And so she fixes the goddamn destination, Sun Valley, which is about 12 miles from where we're at. So I give him the speech. I go, if you want the heat on or the air on, if you want the radio, whatever. And she goes, no, it's fine. And I'm like, all right, good. So I drive off. So I start driving. It's a silent car other than the radio. Now I'm listening to the radio. I've got it on a small, like, chill station so they can just get some fucking music and relax. Because, again, I've recognized they've had a long day at the park. I can already tell they're fatigued. They don't want to hear my fucking stuff cranked up. So I put on the fucking chill music, and it's on low. And so I continue to drive. Now, as I drive, I notice that the woman sitting in the seat next to me, who ordered the ride herself, she's a little out of it. And by a little out of it, I mean she's starting to sway back and forth in her seat. And she's kind of leaning forward, and she's doing this thing. She's hiccuping but covering her mouth afterwards, like, and covering her mouth. Now, Sometimes people do that because they're embarrassed at the noise the hiccups make. But I thought she was just kind of putting her hand up there as a reflex in case anything came flying out of her fucking skull. Because I started to recognize that not only was she tired from the park, she was drunk, man. I mean, she was lit. And I don't know, it must have taken every single ounce of strength for her to muster her way over to my door, smile and go, "Hi, are you here for me? Okay, thanks." Because the second she got in the car, she turned into just a fucking Bukowski lush. I mean, she's fucking out of it. And so she's leaning forward and leaning to the side and kind of rocking back and forth, and she kind of, and a lot of that. And I can hear her like kind of swallowing hard. And I don't know if she's swallowing stuff back down. All I know is it's now a race against fucking time to get her out of the goddamn car. The people in the back are just fucking zombies. But she's the problem, and I can tell she's kind of nodding and waving and weaving and covering her mouth. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is bad. This is going to be so bad. So I'm rolling, and I'm probably going 50 and a 40 and 40 and a 30. Because I just want to get her out of my car as soon as fucking possible. That's it. Because it's the first ride of the fucking weekend. Because if she blows all over the goddamn place, I'm off the road. I got to go in the morning. It's fucking $250 to steam clean the goddamn car. And will it dry in time? I don't fucking know, man. Doesn't matter. I don't want to deal with vomit. I've already dealt with fucking vomit. But I don't want to deal with her. So I'm driving, I'm rolling, I'm moving, I'm hustling. And I'm going. And sure enough, fucking enough. A lot of that. A lot of fucking still the hiccups and swallowing. And then she kind of fans herself with her hand and leans back. And I'm driving, and I'm in my head, like I said, I got to get her out. I got to get them out. And as I'm 2 miles away from their destination, and I'm on a main road, man. There's like 3 lanes of traffic. Nobody's on it because it's nighttime. But there's 3 lanes of traffic and a bike lane. And I'm 2 miles. I'm 2 miles from the finish line. I'm 2 miles from winning the Tour de Drunk France. That's all I want to do is get her the fuck out of the goddamn car and go back and try to earn some more cash. And right when I'm 2 miles away, she, could you pull over, please? And I said, pardon me? Could you pull over, please? And again, like I said, there's nobody on the road. And I have to admit, I'm actually relieved that she asked me to pull over, because that means she's got at least one iota of her faculties around her that she knows that there's going to be a thing and she's going to fucking throw up. So I'm like, all right, I fucking turn on the turn signal and I cut across 3 lanes of traffic in the bike lane. I mean fast. I don't hit the brakes even. I just kind of like, boom, I hydroplane over to the curb as quickly as I fucking can, and I slow it down and I hit the fucking brakes. People in the back still asleep. I pull over. She opens the door. And which also another thing I respected, because I thought at first she was going to open the window and lean out and just fucking puke. But she opened the window first, and then she kind of like leaned, and then she opened the door. She gets out, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at her, and I'm just waiting for her to throw up so we can fucking continue the ride and get her to fucking go. She walks out. She leaves the door open. She takes 4 steps onto the sidewalk. Now I should tell you this. It's bright. We're under a ton of streetlights. It might be nighttime, but you can see fucking everything. It's that kind of, it's really well lit. And we're right by an apartment complex. And she gets out of the car. She takes 4 steps, and she's got her back to the car. And I'm just waiting for her to bend over and throw up so we can get the fuck out of there. I got the 3 Stooges zombied out in the fucking back seat. I'm just waiting to get on the fucking move. And sure enough, she leans forward a little bit. So I figure, all right, here it comes. But instead, she grabs her pants and pulls them down past her knees. I mean, just fucking pulls down her pants and panties, leggings, whatever the fuck it was. They were tight pants, and she just fucking pulls them down past her knees. She's bare ass. She's bare ass in the street. And in my head, I'm like, well, this is a really interesting way to throw up. Because, look, as you know, I I prefer to have all of my clothes off when I'm in the bathroom taking care of business. That's just how I like to do it. And so I thought to myself, well, is that part of her throwing up rule that she's got to fucking drop trowel? So dude, she fucking pulls her pants. So bare ass. I mean, I get bare ass full in my right there, 4 steps away from the car, and then she turns around to look at me. And she kind of like looks like she's going to close the door, but she doesn't. And I mean, I'm looking right there at the baby house. She's got everything on display, man. Fucking, she's bare ass naked, baby house in my face. And then she kind of does that little kid shuffle. You know when your pants are around your ankles and you were like 8 years old and there was no toilet paper and you're like, Mom, and you're like, walking down the hallway. Maybe that just happened to us. But that's what happens when you keep your toilet paper in the linen closet and not under the fucking sink, God damn it. You take a lesson. Keep your toilet paper under the goddamn sink. But she kind of fucking just shuffles over, because we're right by an apartment complex, and there's about a 4-foot retaining wall around the landscaping. So there's shrubbery, there's like just regular grass, and then there's this retaining wall. She fucking shuffles over, hiccuping, covering her mouth, fucking gets to the retaining wall, turns around, and just Humpty Dumpty's this fucking wall. Just fucking sits down like a mother hen hatching all of her fucking eggs. She turns around and again, baby house in full display, and just fucking squats on top of this wall. And now I recognize that this isn't going to be a quick leave. All right, I recognize that she's not going to finish and climb back in the fucking car, and we're just going to hustle. She's in it for the duration, man. She's in this for the long haul. She's probably waiting for fucking Brooks to come by with the book cart so she can have something to read. And I don't know, man. She's decided that this is her fucking, this is it. This is what she's doing. And so of course, I go, hey, and nobody rousts in the back, and I go, hey, guys. And finally, they all kind of like, literally all of them like, they're like the Marines and aliens who are waking up after being driven through deep space. They just come out of this cryogenic slumber and stretch. Yeah. And I go, somebody might want to do something about this. And I should tell you, there's a woman and 2 guys in the back seat. There was the woman in the front seat with me. The woman who sat directly behind her. There was a guy in the middle and a guy behind me. So the woman kind of opens her eyes, and then she kind of gets a handle on what's happening. And I go, hey, you someone might want to take care of this. And I point, and she looks outside, and she sees her friend just fucking naked sitting on the goddamn wall. And this is because, again, I don't know how drunk they are. I don't know if this is a common occurrence. I don't know how they're going to handle it. But she reacted exactly the way she should have reacted. The woman looks out and goes, oh my fucking God. Oh no. Oh, what's happening? Like she woke up out of a dead sleep to see her friend sitting naked on a goddamn wall taking a shit. And she's just like, oh my God, what the? And she fucking flies the door open. She goes to walk out after her. And the 2 guys wake up and they kind of see what's happening. And the girl walks out and she's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? We've got to go. What are you? And as she's doing this, her friend stands up. Now I'm looking at the whole fucking thing. Because again, now they're having a bare ass argument in the middle of the goddamn street. And the girl stands up from the wall and she turns around and she's got a tail. If you know what that means. I told a story once about being in 7-Eleven and a fucking homeless dude came in and he had a piece of shit hanging off of him like fucking Stallone hanging off the tightrope in Cliffhanger. Well, this woman's got the same kind of magical powers this homeless dude had, because she stood up and she's got a tail. She's got a fucking rat tail hanging out of her ass. And she stands up from the wall and the girl's like, no, what are you? Oh my God. And they're arguing out in the street and I'm looking, because again, who doesn't fucking stare at that? Who doesn't look? So I'm watching the 2 of them as they discuss it. And behind me, the dude directly behind me goes, hey, stop looking. And I go, what? And he goes, stop looking at her. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, that's my girlfriend. Stop looking at her. This is an embarrassing moment for her. Stop looking at her. Like mean, like he's going to beat me up. And I look at him and I go, well, this is fucking crazy. And he goes, yeah, but you know what? This is an embarrassing moment. Stop looking at her, man. I'm telling you right now. And I said, I'll tell you what, maybe You should be a little more concerned with the fact that your girlfriend's taking a shit on a major thoroughfare than whether or not I'm looking out the goddamn door. And he's like, that's it. I'm reporting you to Uber. You're a pervert. If you look at her, you're a pervert. And I go, you know what? Everybody out. He goes, what? And I go, everybody out. Get out of my car. I'm not going to sit here and wait through this. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to wait for her to finish. You guys are done. Out. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you, man. You're a pervert. I'm reporting you to Uber. I'm calling the cops. I'm calling the cops that you were looking at her. You're a fucking pervert. I go, dude, fine, good. And he goes, no, yes, of course. I'm a pervert. Get out of my car. Just move. I'm fucking calling Uber right now. And they start taking photos of me. They take out their phone. They take photos of me. They get out of the car and they slam the fucking car door as hard as they can. And they start yelling at me and they're taking photos of my car and they're taking photos of the license plate. What are you going to charge me with? Gawking at your shit, girl? I mean, what the fuck? Seriously, who the fuck? Be concerned. Turn around. I'm not the person to be concerned with. I'm sorry your girl couldn't keep it together and she's flashing everybody in the fucking neighborhood her clam while she takes a dump on somebody's lawn. It's not my fucking problem. So they take the photos. I drive off. And here's the thing. I've got to pull over because I can't just go back to driving. I've got to file a report with Uber. Because I'm not going to let these guys control the narrative on Shitgate. You know what I mean? I got to make sure that I launch my salvo in there and I make sure that these fucking people realize that I didn't do anything wrong. This chick got out of my car, bare ass, swung it around, showed me everything, and then fucking took a dump on the street. What the fuck, man? How the fuck is that my problem? But I have to phrase it delicately to Uber. I'm like, well, she relieved herself on the wall. I mean, fuck, Jesus Christ, man. And that dude just yelling at me. It's like, man, your fucking girlfriend's taking a shit on a wall. I mean, this is prison shit. This is the kind of nonsense you would see in the Congo, man. If there was fucking prisoners and slaves and shit. You can't fucking hang that on me. This is not my fault. And I got news for you. I'm going to watch. If there's a fight in the street, I'm going to watch. I told you, I've seen a dude take his pants up and swing his dick around like a fucking lasso. I watched. Because guess what? You got to inform yourself with these kinds of things. You got to be ready. You got to be frosty. And if anything like that happens again, you got to be like, well, fuck, I can't get involved in this. I saw this shit happen before. I recognize this. This is someone shuttling off is going to go. Because again, I thought I was ready for it. I absolutely thought this was just somebody who's going to get out of the car and puke. Because I've had it so many fucking times. It just happened again a couple of weeks ago on what was it, fucking New Year's or whatever, when I drove that lady to Pasadena. I mean, it's just happened so often that I'm ready for it now. But that's a tragedy in itself, right? Just the fact that I work a job where I have to be prepared for anybody to throw up at any time, isn't that a fucking tragedy? Now look, I recognize we all live our lives in the position where we have to be ready for somebody who's going to vomit at any given time. Doesn't matter if it's at the mall. Well, why the mall again? Or if it's going to be at your fucking work, or if it's going to be at the gym. Inevitably, you're going to stumble upon somebody who does something terrible, like vomits all over the place. But the very fact that I work a job where I have to be frosty for it and almost expect it, I expect it. Isn't that fucking terrible? What have I done to myself? I keep hitting these rock bottoms and I keep not doing anything about it. I keep hitting these rock bottoms at this job. A guy threw up on me. A guy fucking threw up on me, not just in my car. A guy vomited on me in my hair. I had to take off my fucking clothes and pour bottled water all over myself and jump in the shower at home in my clothes. And I still do this. I've made no strides. I personally have, but I haven't made any real effort to get out of doing it because it's too easy to do and make money. But that's the thing. It's the easy way. I always take the easy fucking way. A guy vomited on me. He fucking threw up on me. That's like the school shooting of Uber passengers. That's just the fucking thing. That should be the fucking line in the sand. That should have been the Columbine where I fucking went, yeah, no, this will not stand. I can't do this anymore. And yet I did. And I did it long enough to get punched in the head by a guy. And I did it long enough to have people have sex in my fucking car. And I did it long enough to have people come in and rifle through my glove compartment and do coke. I mean, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this? Because I'm not smart enough to snap out of it yet. I talk to Shannon about it all the time and I go, why am I doing this? Why can't I get past this hurdle? Why can't? And she goes, I don't know. But you'll know when you do. You'll know when it's time. And I go, it's time. It's fucking time, Shannon. It's been time, man. And she's like, you've made great strides. You've come a long way. And the very fact that you recognize all these things, your self-awareness has never been in question, but when you're ready, you'll make the leap. And I go, I'm ready. She goes, well, then do it. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know what it is. Maybe, I don't know. I can't figure it out. But I want to figure it out. And I think I figured it out now. I want, and you've heard this from me before, and I recognize that. It's almost like I'm a weird, it's like we're in a relationship. And you keep hearing me go, yeah, you know what, man, I'll fix it. I'll get it taken care of. And I'm sure this is something Karen got tired of hearing, and I'm sure Jill got tired of hearing it. Seeing somebody with potential fritter it away is very frustrating. But not as frustrating as being the person who fritters away that potential. So I want this to be my job. I got to thank all of you for coming through with the fucking YouTube thing. You really, really helped me. It was amazing, and I was so happy. And it makes me want to be better. It makes me want to go forward and be great. Another problem I have is, it's one of the reasons why I reached out and you guys started the Lil Schmitty's Attaboy Fit Brigade page is I don't care about me. I don't care about doing good things for me. I don't care about proving things to myself. I always want to prove things to other people. I want other people's respect and love. I want them to respect me. I want them to love me. I want them to tell me I'm good. And that probably is born out of being a kid as well who just survived. But I want people to recognize me and the things that I do, and I want to hear I'm a good boy. Like I said, attaboys and kudos and all that stuff. And I've spent half this fucking show telling you I don't need that from you. You don't need to step up. This is not a cry for help show. This is just a real show. I just felt like bleeding this week, and I tried not to. I talked and talked. I talked in circles. I tried 15 different times. And this is the 16th, and it catches. This is the one that catches. This is the one that I've continued and I've made work because it's honest. It's not me avoiding the subject at hand. And the sun's coming up, and that's fine. Maybe that's an apt metaphor. Because I need the sun to come up in my life. I need to come out of the darkness. Maybe it's a corny metaphor. I don't want to go down that road. Whoa, did you just hear my stomach? That was freaky as fuck. I literally just sipped some water and it made my stomach make that noise. Hey, maybe I just die. Maybe that'll work out for me. I'm 50. I've had a good run. Maybe I just fucking die and I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. My stomach just explodes on the air. What if the alien burst out of my stomach? Actually, you know what? The only reason the alien would burst out of my stomach at this point would be to fucking wheel on me and go, dude, this show blew, and just fucking zoom off. He's like, hey man, I was going to stay in there, but after I kept hearing you bellyache and I had to get the fuck out because you and your nonsense, I had to go. Boom, and he just zips off and he goes and finds another host. Even the alien rejects me, for fuck's sake. Goddamn you, xenomorph. How do you make me feel worse about myself? So, friends, I don't know if it's pathetic to view you guys as that, or if it's because it's real. But does it betray how needy I am as a guy, that I would look out there at a bunch of strangers and think, at least you guys are there? I don't know, man. But I do know I got to make this my job. I got to find a way to conquer the thing inside me that tells me what I do isn't good and I'm not good enough. And I need to pay more attention to Patreon. I need to pay attention to YouTube. And I need to pay attention. I'm kind of over Facebook, other than the Joker's page. They fucked me with the algorithm so much. I used to get like fucking 100 likes on a photo. Now I get like 10. And on truth be told, also, I'm over Facebook as a guy. I see people posting. Everyone's got a fucking megaphone, and boy, is that just fucking exhausting, right? I mean, I just can't. Good for you. I'm glad everybody has an opinion. I'm glad everybody has a soapbox, but it just gets so old scrolling through and seeing the same people. And it's funny, I have an echo chamber. Obviously, the people who wanted to be my friends or who follow this show are probably like-minded people who feel the way that I feel. But then, if I were to include some other people that I disagree with, then you're just adding agita to your fucking life. But there's agita anyway, because even the people I agree with, I'm just like, oh my God, enough. I just say enough behind all of it. And I find the world tedious, and I find it poisonous. And that's something I really need to work on. That was another fucking thing I wanted to do this year, is pull myself away from the world. And not just in a hiding in my house and watching 70s detective shows way. I mean, just not investing myself in the drama and the constant psychopathy of everybody going on and on about how this is it, Trump is dead, this is the one thing that'll get him, or no, it's not, he's you lib-tiered turds, fucks, and you libtards, and oh my fucking God, it's over. I hate it so much. And this past week with gun control, I just find myself, because I did, I did a show. I think I did, it was after the Pulse nightclub, I did my gun control show, if you want to call it that. And there's no reason for me to preach to the choir and come in here and tell you guys more stuff. Now, if there's a way to help or a way to be involved, I'd happily do it. If there's a way to take paying for that woman's groceries and apply it on a national level to whatever gun control is or whatever fixing the world is, I want to do it. It's funny. I spend this, and again, this will betray just how fucking frozen and amber I am. I'll be driving in Uber, and the thought that gets me through is every time I drive by a 7-Eleven, I look at the Powerball and the Mega Millions. It's weak. It's foolish to think that way, but it gets me through an hour of daydreaming exactly what I do, and I know what I would do. I would get that money, and I would help all of my family and friends first, and then I would just kind of anonymously show up at children's hospitals with toys. Or I would try to take a homeless person or 10 homeless people or 100 homeless people and just take them and get them hotel rooms and get them showered and buy them clothes. And it's ridiculous to think that my entire life is now boiled down to I want to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. But there's so much sadness and there's so much hatred and there's so much poison, and I want to rise above it by just helping as many people as I can in whatever way. Like I don't know what to do. Look, I got to help myself first. All right, I got to pull it's like this entire world is a plane that's going down in this analogy. And before I can help any of these kids or these homeless people next to me, before I can put their oxygen mask on, I got to put my oxygen mask on to make sure I'm alive to get them through this situation. So I got to take care of me. But when I do, then I can try to take care of other people. I want to go, in my mind, I want to go read to kids. I want to go, like, no kid should ever be sad, ever. No child should ever frown. No child should ever have to wonder where his food is coming from. No one should ever wonder what's in the food box that came from the fucking government. No child should ever have to have that life. I had that life. Like I said, we had a plan. When social services came, Lenny would answer the door. And we would hide in the back. One of us would call my mom at work just in case and keep her on the phone in case they tried to make a move so that my mom could get home from work. Or have my uncle or a neighbor or somebody come over and make sure they took us and helped us. That was actually a strategy to keep us from being taken out of the house. That's no way for a kid to live. You do it. You survive. You do what you got to do. But then you look back on it 40 years later and you're like, man, that was kind of a drag. And also, it might influence the way I am a little bit now when I'm so needy for love and respect and comfort, and it just wasn't there. I lived in a lot of fear and a lot of chaos. And it makes for good stories, but it also makes it real difficult to be an adult sometimes because I never got to be a boy. We were doing the best we could to protect my mom from my drunk dad, and then we were doing the best we could to protect my mom from social services and the government taking us away, and And I didn't have time to think about schoolwork and have time to think about playing organized sports, and I couldn't do any of that shit. And also, and my mom, just like I said, she was busy working as hard as she could to keep us all under the same roof. And I love her for it, and I'm happy that she did. But at the same time, I find myself thinking, I wish things could have been a little bit different. But, you play the hand you're dealt. And when you get older, there's nothing that says that you can't change your own destiny. There's nothing that says you can't fix your own home, repair your own scars and wounds. You can do that. It just takes time. And for some reason, I just keep winding up running into a brick wall here and there regarding doing this or doing anything, because I question doing it. And I question whether it's good or whether I'm smart enough. And it's the silliest thing, because I've proven for 25 years as a stand-up, 27 years, Jesus Christ. I've proven for 27 years as a stand-up and for 11 years as a podcaster that people want to hear what I have to say. Turns out the only one who doesn't want to hear what I have to say is me. And when you're your only audience, that can be a little daunting. When you're your own heckler, that's a little hard to, let's put it this way. I can't have myself thrown out of the club. And there's no bouncers here to do it anyway other than myself. So I got a lot of fucking work to do still in my brain, and to shut myself off. And like I said, I fantasize about helping so many people. Like, I want to do things like that. And I want to, look, would you want to win? Like I said, I'd want to take care of friends and people. Did you see Drake's video for God's Plan? I sobbed like an idiot watching it, because it's exactly what I would want to do. It's just beautiful. If you haven't seen it, go watch Drake's video for God's Plan. And it's just, I was so happy. It made me so happy. I look for joy all the time now. This will make you laugh. On Instagram the other day, because it's been a weird, like, after YouTube got clinched, I was so happy and I was ready. And then when I sat down to do the show on Tuesday, like, it's just, my dick's been in the dirt for 2 days. I don't know why. I don't fucking know why. Because I tell myself I'm not good enough, and it's the dumbest fucking thing. So I keep, we had this happen with a show before when I had to read that, David Foster Wallace book, and it kind of got me off the schneid. But you know what I did yesterday? I went on Instagram and I followed like 5 different Boston Terrier accounts, because I have this fantasy. I want a dog so bad. Like, I want a dog just because it would love me. And I would love him so much. And we'd just be friends forever. Does that sound sad? It sounds sad to me, but it also sounds so glorious. But that's, I don't have anybody to take care of, and I'm barely taking care of me because I don't care. It's funny, I went grocery shopping. I'm not seeing Randy anymore. Some of you have asked, I'll just tell you. Nothing bad, but just it was complicated. And that's just the way it, and we're still, and let's put it this way, we're still friends. We still talk all the time, and who knows what the future will bring. But she had some stuff that she had to take care of, and I understood. But I went grocery shopping today, and as part of my plan to be healthy and fill the house with food and cook instead of eating out all the time. It's a month and a half late, but still. And as I was grocery shopping today, I felt a little sadness, because when she would come over, or when Jill would come over, like I would go, that's the only time I would go grocery shopping. And I would fill the house with food or coffee or wine or any of the things that they liked. And it was so important to me to know what they liked. And it was so important for me to know what their favorite color was and their favorite flower was, and to know everything about them so I could take care of them. I just wanted to take care of them. And as I've said before, I don't care about me. Who cares about me? Why would I want to take care of me? And that's the thing I got to fix. So I went grocery shopping today, and I felt twinge of sadness because I went, well, this is all just for me. Who cares? Who cares that I bought yogurt and I found good bread? I can't tell anybody about my good bread. I can't show anybody these Ruffles that are mozzarella and marinara flavored. Weird chips. I used to, this is what Jill and I used to do. We'd get weird Oreos or weird chips, and Randy and I would get her wine, and I would have coffee here for her. And when she made me breakfast, dude, I can't even. I felt so loved because she didn't even ask. She just went in the kitchen and she made eggs and she put avocados and tortilla and just brought it over to me when I was working at the desk. And Jesus, do you miss that? And so I want a dog. I want a little Boston Terrier, a little people-faced dog with his giant eyes. Have him be a little puppy and have him grow up and take care of him and have him scoot around on my rug, and then I'll take him out and throw a tennis ball to him and he can be my friend. And I'll be his. And then I'll get rich. And he and I will go on adventures. I'll just be my little sidekick. He'll ride in the car with his head out. I'll be driving. We'll pull over. We'll see some people and hand him some money. He'll bark at him twice. They'll pet him and he'll smile and we'll leave. We'll go off to find more people to give money to. Just have adventures. Maybe I'll make that my job. This can't be my job anymore. I have a new job. Me and a dog are going to drive around and give money to people on the street. That's a pretty good plan. That's going to be great. And this is going to be great. I know it is. Maybe not this week. This week's a little bump in the road. And I apologize to all of you guys for this. But I did try to do a normal show. I sat down to do it. And look, I have so many cool ass things to tell you about. I got so much more of Japan to share with you. I still have Kuwait stuff to share with you. I got videos from both that are going to go on the YouTube page. I have stories and experiences, and I have things coming up that I can't wait to tell you about. Like I said, I've contacted some cities about shows. I want to come see you guys. I want to come out and do shows. I'm doing that Spartan Sprint in near Cincinnati in July, and I think I'm tying a show into that. So I'm just waiting to hear, and I'd love to have you guys there. If you don't want to do the fucking run, I get that totally. Colette and I'll do the run, but then afterwards, I might even come to town on the 4th and go to the Reds game and then hang out for a couple of days. I'm going to be in Phoenix for a couple of days if anybody wants to hang out. I meant it when I said I wanted to start. Liana is my friend, and she's a listener, and she's great. She's been around from the beginning. And she's like, that living room tour, you keep talking about that living room tour. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of do. I mean, I would love to do it. But I need seed money to do that. That's a thing I got to pay, because I still got to get plane tickets. I got to make it work. And I will. It's a cool-ass idea. Maybe I'll do a couple of those this summer. But I've contacted a couple of cities for shows, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. And I want to come see you guys because I want this to be my job. So bad. And I don't, this is not a whiny show. This is not like boo fucking who. And it's okay to want things. It's okay to wish for things, but you also need to work for things. And that's the part of the equation that I need to really step up, because I don't work nearly as hard as I should. And I said this in 2012, and I said it in 2007. And I said it in 2000, and I said it in 1991. I don't work as hard as I should. And that leads to these moments where, unfortunately, I have to open a fucking vein and show you guys the weakness inside me that I don't like and want to get rid of and I'm not proud of. But you're my friends, so I don't mind telling you this stuff. And look, some of you may hate it. Some of you might write me an email and go, hey man, enough of the fucking whining. We got tough lives too. And I know you do. I'm not saying you don't. I just happen to have a microphone for mine, but you guys write me and you tell me you got stuff going on. And I've had friends who had to stop. Like I have a friend, Paul, who he's like, hey man, I'm really sorry. I can't do the Patreon anymore. Life is happening. And I wrote him and I go, look, man, you have supported me from the beginning. You don't even have to give me a heads up. I respect you and love you that you did, but you don't have to. And I get people all the time who are like, hey man, my card got rejected or this happened and I'm really sorry. And they're so cool. You don't owe me any sort of explanation. You don't need to fucking tell me, oh, well, this or that, or, believe it or not. I mean, I see the Patreon number go up and down, but I don't know who's bailing on me. I don't know who left. 10 years ago, might I have been that guy who meticulously kept track of everybody that was leaving? Yeah. I know the people that are on there. I know the people that have stayed. And I appreciate that. And if you had to go, you had to go. I totally get that too. So thank you. Thank everybody who's supported and who continues to support. And you're allowing me to pursue the goal of making this my job. I just need to start being as good an employee as I am a boss. You guys can get me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40yearoldboy. I'm on Snapchat and Instagram. That's right. Still, I'm think I might. Well, I'm now on Snapchat and it's fun, but man, they fucked it up. They put out a new update for the app and they fucking ruined it. Like, they made it hard to find stories and shit. And it's the dumbest thing. Again, they're trying to be like a tabloid. Like, if you have Snapchat and you recognize the change they made. This page where you used to get all the stories from people is now this fucking weird headline page where they think you want to see national stories. Because they're trying to be Facebook. They're trying to be a news aggregator as well as a fucking social media service. It's like, man, fuck that. I don't go to you for stories from the Daily Mail and shit like that. Nobody wants to see your preview, and I don't give a fuck about stories from celebrities. The reason we do Snapchat is to stay in contact with people we know. If I want to get celebrity news, I'll go other fucking places. Maybe this is a 50-year-old guy talking. He shouldn't have fucking Snapchat on his phone anyway, but fuck, that's what he does. But if you want to find me on there, I'm Mike40YOB. I'm also Mike40YOB on Instagram. Find me at those places, please, and be my friend and pal. And let's talk about this. Our friend Gio, as I've mentioned, does all the YouTube stuff for us. Thank you all for stepping up and becoming YouTube subscribers. You put me over the top, and I appreciate it very, very much. Gio does all the hard work for YouTube. And we just actually, if you didn't get a chance to see my Facebook live stream where I talked, like I said, for an hour or so, because remember I said, if this episode blows, well, go ahead and find me on YouTube. If you go to the YouTube, if you just go in the videos section, because there's all the year 10, year 1, I think there's just the 40-year-old boy videos. It's got the Facebook stream. So you'll see the conversation I had for an hour and 10 or an hour and 20 or whatever the fuck it was with people. And it's infinitely funnier than this. You'll hear the story I told about the girl getting out of my car. I probably tell it better on that than I did tell it here. Who knows? Go and judge for yourself, please. And then by all means, contact me and tell me that this one wasn't as good as the one at the fucking Facebook thing. God knows I want to hear that. But please go ahead and follow me over there at Snapchat and Instagram and YouTube as well. If you want to be a subscriber, I'd appreciate it. Gio did a lot of hard work, always does a lot of hard work, uploads videos for me. And there's more coming, plenty more in the pipeline. Like I said, plenty of Japan. I got a ton of fucking cool ass stories to tell you. I got photos to show you. I got videos. I got all sorts of stuff from Japan. I'll climb out of my head next week and I'll fucking bring it to you, I promise. So go to YouTube and subscribe. And our friend Gio, like I said, he's Giovanni Giorgio Peluso. And you can spell that any way you want, but you can find him on Facebook at facebook.com/Giovanni Giorgio Peluso. And he's also available at, I believe is it Get It On Gio? Or I don't even know his Twitter handle, but you can just put in his name and it should come up. But follow him on Twitter and follow him on and be his friend on Facebook and all that kind of stuff because he's the coolest and he does a lot of hard work for us. Ryan Dirks, remember that Ryan Dirks is our good friend and he is a guy in charge of all the web stuff for our show and eventually that will get taken care of as well. It's another thing on the agenda that I got to get moving on. As soon as we get that rolling, that'd be fantastic and our friend Ryan will be on board and I appreciate him doing all of the work for the web. For us, it makes me happy. We have sponsors for this show, as I've mentioned many times before. Our friend GetTheButters.com. That's our friend Jerome in Michigan. GetTheButters.com is fantastic. It's amazing. It is a website where if you use the code 40YOB, you'll get to save money on lube. Can any other show say that to you? I don't think they fucking can. Marin's selling you coffee and enemas and all sorts of bullshit. Earwolf, they got you buying MeUndies and whatever the fuck. and other people got Sherry's Berries. Yeah, I'm sure those are all wonderful sponsors, and I'd love for them to contact me. However, I've got lube for y'all. So I'll tell you what, go get your MeUndies from somebody else. Go get your Sherry's Berries from somebody else. And then go to getthebutters.com, use the code 40YOB, buy some lube, put it on those fucking strawberries, pull down your MeUndies, and shove them right up your ass. How's that grab you? Is that good? Does that work out? Go to getthebutters.com. They got balms and bombs and lubes and bells and whistles and masks and chicks and guns and fire trucks. And I know I said that a couple of weeks ago and one guy got it, but I had to say it again. But it's all available there from our friend Jerome, and he's making it at his house. He's fashioning. You know, if you wanted to buy a vibrator from Jerome, he would make it out of twigs and bees. He would send it to you, and you would love it. He is taking things found in nature and turning it into soap. He's the Tyler Durden of Michigan. That's who he is, Jerome. He's out there he's hopping fences with a blanket over the barbed wire, and he's stealing human fat. He's coming home and making it creamy. He's kissing Edward Norton on the fucking hand and then dousing him in goddamn lye. Why wouldn't he do that? And why wouldn't you save money on it? Use the code 40YOB. Get some soap, some butter, some balm, some lube, some masks, some hair gel, some beard oil. All that stuff is there. He's got skin lotion, face lotion. Anything you could possibly want to put on or in your body that's not food is available at getthebutters.com. Use the code 40YOB and save money. You know, there's a podcast that I've been telling you guys about. It's called The 40-Year-Old Boy. You should check it out. It's pretty good most weeks. However, there's one that's good every week, and that's The Paranoid Strain, ladies and gentlemen. The Paranoid Strain is a phenomenal show. It's hosted by our friend Fearful Jesuit, who I think I'm actually going to go see him in a couple of weeks. He's one of the guys I mentioned. I said I'm doing road trips. I'm going to go to Fearful Jesuit's house or compound or whatever the fuck he's got. I have no idea. I'm so excited to meet him. I want to knock on his door, and he just opens it up, and he's just dressed like Count Chocula. How fucking awesome would that be? Just a fucking conspiracy buff. He's all dressed up in a cape with one tooth. Crazy fucking Count Chocula face. Crazy motherfucker named Chocula. Straight out of Compton. Crazy motherfucker named Chocula. So that's the Paranoid Strain show. This month, they're talking about chemtrails, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. You ever look up at the sky and see a plane go over and it leaves a trail of smoke? And you think to yourself, well, I didn't know that planes were Harley Davidsons and actually secreted some sort of weird fucking exhaust? Well, folks, there are people out there who will tell you that's not typical jet engine fuel plane exhaust. No. That's a mind-altering chemical that's going to turn you into a sheeple. Do you want to be a sheeple, folks? You don't want to be a goddamn sheeple. You probably don't. Maybe you do. Maybe you want to be a sheeple. But if you don't, listen to the Paranoid Strain, because the sheeple are out there. They believe all this garbage, this chemtrails, this HARP nonsense, all of this bullshit. If you want to hear somebody get to the meat of the matter, if you want to hear someone get to the matter of the meat, that's what our friend Fearful Jesuit does at Paranoid Strain. If you want to get caught with the meat in your mouth, then by all means listen to our friend Fearful Jesuit over there at Paranoid Strain, and do me a favor. Not only do you listen to the show, okay, but write him. First of all, write a review in the iTunes store and talk about how great the show is, and tell them that I sent you, please, because that lets him and iTunes think I'm a hitter. But also write him personally. Write Fearful Jesuit a note. There's a good chance it'll be read on the show if it's cogent and spelled correctly and not spelled out like a fucking ransom note from a 1950s kidnapping movie using magazine letters randomly put to and fro. No, if you actually put some care into it, send an email, and you say to him, hey, you know what? I was sent here by our friend Mike Schmidt of the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. It looks good. It makes me look good in the eyes of a Fearful Jesuit. And God knows I need that, because I'm going to see the guy in a month. In a month or two, a month and a half. I think a month. I'm going to head up there to the compound and get choculated by this motherfucker. I don't know if I'm sleeping there. I don't know if I'm staying there. I think he offered me to stay in the compound, and I don't know if that's a thing, right? I can't do that. He's got that fucking scary-ass show out there. There's going to be all these hitmen trying to find him, and the fucking Bundy Ranch people and the fucking chemtrail people. They all may just live there at the compound. Maybe he keeps them there. He studies them in a lab. Maybe that's what he's luring me up there for. What the fuck show could he use me for? Rage and failure? That's perfect. Go ahead. Throw me in the mix there, Fearful Jesuit. I'm on board for all that nonsense. But go listen to the episode that's in the iTunes store now. Like I said, chemtrails, HARP and chemtrails. It's fucking amazing. And check it out and listen to it, and you will love it. I will tell you right now specifically how much you will love it. So much. Look at that. I just clarified it for you. You will love it so much. And then review it in iTunes and write him, please, and tell him that we're on board and he's on board and we're all on board. And did I tell you about the fucking Spartan Sprint? Yeah, why not? I'll tell you again. It's July 7th. And you can go sign up for the race if you want. You can run it with me and Colette. It's one of those bullshit Warrior Dash things where we got to climb over a wall and we're going to get all fucking dirty. I don't know if Colette's husband is running it with us or not. I think he's just going to be there. He'll also be like holding the camera like Chris Cruz's husband did. That's the thing. Whenever I go to these races, I run with a listener and then their husband or significant other holds the camera and films me for posterity to show what an idiot I am. But I've got 5 months to get into shape for that bad boy, and I'm going to do it. I'm already lifting. I'm strong. I'm feeling good. I don't know if I told you this, folks. I lost 15 pounds in Japan. Yeah, that's right. Turns out walking all over the place, even if you're eating once or twice a day and eating a bunch of fucking weird-ass Kit Kats, you can still walk it the fuck off. And I will tell you next week about the day, because we're up to day 4 in Japan. Hey, I was there for 2 weeks. Boy, oh boy, you'd think I'd get to that fucking stuff eventually. And I will, I promise. But I had to crawl out of my fucking bat cave of a head this week and fucking go ahead and bring everybody down and drop this knowledge on them. But you know, when I was in Japan, I was walking all over the place and I lost 15 fucking pounds. Now that I came home here and I had momentum, right? Well, I haven't exactly walked everywhere. I haven't kept up with the cardio, but I've been lifting and I've still kept the weight off, which is good. I'm very happy about that. So I'm still around 346, 345. I lost 15 when I went over there, and I could feel it. That's the weirdest thing is people don't think so. When you're a giant guy, you can lose weight like that in 2 weeks. You can lose 10, you can lose 15, and it kind of comes and goes. The key point is to keep it rolling, though, and that's the thing. So I've maintained since I've gotten home, but I have not tipped the scales by doing more cardio and trying to make it work. But lifting, I feel stronger. I'm bigger. My shoulders, my biceps. You can feel me when you see me. Come out to Fearful Jesuits' place and feel me up. Why not? There'll be a long line of people waiting to talk to me. So come over and give me a squeeze. But I'm going to get in shape for this fucking Spartan Sprint. I got to be, I've got to lose weight. I got to be lithe. I got to get my cardio bulked up. I can make that work. Like I said, I was walking all over the fucking the country of Japan. I was going to say the city of Tokyo, but why not the country of Japan? I was walking all over the goddamn place. And it's going to make me ready and make me taut and lithe as I get ready for this fucking Spartan Sprint. And like I said, if you want to sign up and show up there and do the race, that's fantastic. And if you don't, I totally get that too. Why would you? But I'm going to probably, hopefully, be scheduling a show when I'm in that town. And I hate doing this and telling you I'm going to do stuff and then it doesn't come through. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because I think it looks good. Like, remember when I mentioned Kansas City? I was like, yeah, because that looked really good. I was told it was confirmed and then it wasn't. Well, this isn't confirmed yet. But I want to try to get you guys understanding that possibly July 7th there will be a show. I'll certainly be in the area the 4th through the 7th and in the Cincinnati. I might stay in Cincinnati. I don't know. I got to go. I don't know my place of where I'm staying yet. But I registered for the race, so it's officially happening. I've got to get my airfare all squared away and figure out how many days I'm staying. And I'm looking for all sorts of cool-ass stuff to do this summer. I want to go do shows. I want to come out and see you guys. I'd love to do that, like that goofy-ass living room thing that I talked about. But even if you're like, man, let's go fucking see some baseball. If the airfare is good and I can make it work, man, I'll fucking do it. I mean, I think I'm going to go to Phoenix and go to a Diamondbacks game in April. Fucking let's do this, man. And I'm going to show up. It's just me and my Boston Terrier, and we're going to fucking come to your town and have fucking adventures. Let's do it. We'll do a living room show. We'll do a backyard show. We'll do fucking theater shows, whatever the fuck. I want to have this Terrier trained by the time I get to Cincinnati so he can go up over the wall with me, man. I want to see him just fucking flying around like Ashley Whippet catching goddamn frisbees at halftime. The two of us, he just perches up on my goddamn shoulder. That's what I want to teach him to do. Run up my back and sit on my shoulder, and I'll just feed him like fucking corn or whatever the fuck. I don't know what Boston Terriers eat, but I got to learn it. Because I'm going to have one, and we're going to have adventures and go all over the goddamn town. Just me and him. Fucking Sancho. I don't know if I'll name him Sancho. Depends on what he looks like. I can't pick out a dog name until I see him. I told you, a funny name for a dog is just like a real person's name. Like Larry. If you had a dog named Larry, that's fucking beautiful. That's a bulldog's name. You got to get a goddamn dog named Larry. That's a perfect name for a fucking bulldog. But if you got another dog, you got to find a different way. Like a Boston Terrier, he looks like his name would be like Chappie or some fucking weird English name. Like Gordon. Oh my God, that's it. I got to get a Boston Terrier named Gordon. That'll be perfect. He'll fucking perch up on my shoulder. I'll feed him corn. Dude, I love Gordon the Boston Terrier. Dude, so I followed like fucking 5 different accounts on Instagram of Boston Terriers, and then I got followed back by like 10 accounts of Boston Terriers. Words out amid the Boston Terrier people that Schmitty's a fucking weak touch. They know that I'm on board with their Boston Terrierness. And then I watched the videos, and oh my God, there's a Boston Terrier who was riding in a canoe, and his friend Boston Terrier was too scared and he wouldn't go, so they paddled away and they left him on the shore, and he stood on the shore and watched them paddle around, and he was there right when they came back. He never budged because he knew his friend was on an adventure without him, and he was so sad. It won't be like that for me and Gordon. Gordon will be up on my fucking shoulder on the canoe. He'll be up when we do a helicopter ride. We'll go on a plane. He'll fucking just jump up there. He'll be like a 2-headed animal just fucking perched there on my shoulder eating corn. I can't wait. Get me fucking Gordon the Boston Terrier, because that's... Oh, dude, fuck. Hold on. I was doing the ramp out. I completely forgot. Folks, listen. I've told you all about our friend Gio and our friend Ryan. And somehow I got all fucking screwed up there. You know, I forgot to mention, and I didn't mean to do it, but I did it because I started thinking about Gordon the Boston Terrier, and I started to do the ramp out, and guess what? I forgot to mention our good friend David Hernandez, who does all of the fucking amazing music and artwork for this goddamn show. That's right, David Mex Hernandez. He is, he's the key, he's the linchpin, he's all those other things that you want to think about yourselves and about him. You can find him at facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. This is weird after the ramp out. I should have been talking about Gordon by now. But it's my own fault. This is what happens when you're fucking sitting on a chair in a living room moping. So David Hernandez, he's amazing. He does all the artwork. He does all of the music for this goddamn show. You can find him online at facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. Be his friend there. Perhaps he will involve you in a Mex meme at some point. You will find your face, your countenance, your lovely punum involved in a Mex meme, and you'll think to yourself, you know what? I've arrived. I have fucking arrived, man. Look at me in a Mex goddamn meme. But if you're not lucky enough to be in a Mex meme, then you should do this. Go to artbydmh.com. That's artbydmh.com. And you can go ahead and get yourself in your own fucking painting. Fuck a meme. Fuck a meme, man. Fuck a punk because I ain't him. You'll have to deal with the 9 double slim. Double M. Anyway, so... but get him to do a painting of yourself. Or he could, you know what? He could even paint you as a Mex meme if you wanted him to do that, for fuck's sake. If you want to just buy some standard artwork that's amazing that he's already done, some freestanding artwork, he's got Valscapes, he's got Guycons for sale. Browse Art by DMH. He's got plenty of pieces you can ask him about and see if you can purchase them. But if you want to get something custom made, if you want to have yourself painted for posterity, if you want to have your own grim visage saved for all eternity, you want to be your own Dorian Gray and have him paint you, then you can go ahead and do that. You can order whatever the fuck you want. As long as you got the green, man, the long green, he's got the long brushes, and he'll paint you and immortalize you for fucking ever. Think about that. My friend David Hernandez will immortalize you forever by painting you in a fancy pants way. That's right, you can be like little Lord Fauntleroy. You can be like a little bugle boy with a little fucking old-timey suit. You can be sitting on a horse strapping. He can paint you like the cover of a romance novel, a bodice ripper, where you're all fucking buffed out and you're hugging on some lady in a powdered wig. Why wouldn't you want that for yourself? Treat yourself is what I say. Have yourself painted as Napoleon with your hand in your goddamn shirt. Have yourself painted as the Mona Lisa with a funky-ass smile. Have yourself painted as the Venus de Milo with no goddamn arms. All of these fantastic artworks and more can be yours if you go ahead and contact our friend David Hernandez at artbydmh.com. That's artbydmh.com. If you say to him, hey, you know what, do me a favor, paint me as a soldier in the Civil War, but have Mike's godson Valentine cut it up with a knife that Mike got him for his birthday. You know what he's going to do? He's going to do that. You'll just get the ribbons in the mail. You'll get a fucking shredded up painting, and you'll be like, ha-ha, and now I can put this together for myself. Look at the fun you've made for yourself. You ordered a painting of yourself that my godson cut to ribbons, and then you put it back together yourself. You've created not only a painting of yourself, but an art project for yourself to pass the time. Look at things you can do at Art by DMH. You can reach out to David and go, hey, do me a favor. Could you make me a clay bust of myself and then have Alice from the Brady Bunch knock it off the countertop with her fucking purse and just send me the broken pieces? He'd be happy to do it. That's how he works. If you're paying, he's doing whatever the fuck you ask. You want Smashed Bust by Ann B. Davis? He can make that happen. You want painting cut to ribbons by my godson? Of course. If you think to yourself, hey, is there a way you could do a painting of myself and my sons and my wife and 2 of our aunts and then maybe my grandmother and have that chewed up by your dog Rogue and Mike's dog Gordon? He would do it. You would just get a fucking torn apart piece of fucking thing with tooth marks in it from Gordon and fucking Rogue as they went to work on that goddamn painting, but you'd still look goddamn great in it because David knows what he's doing. He does the fucking long work, so you don't have to, baby. He'd fucking put it in there. It'd be amazing. You'd look at it and go, oh my God, how did I ever fucking think about him not doing this?
There's nothing lonelier than being trapped inside yourself. It's easier to hide when you pretend you're the knight. Women love a guy with a giant neck.
We here, we are playing on a level that most will never see.